All right, guys. So now we're going to be working in. We've been doing exponential. Sorry. We've been doing rational exponents. All right. So now I want to show you guys how we're going to be able to convert back and forth. All right. And with this section in the book is called nth root. All right. So when they talk about an nth root of a, all they're doing is just looking at this mess here. Okay. It's not that big a deal. The thing I want you guys to notice, all right, is when it's in radical form. So radical form versus rational exponent form. Okay, is just look. There's a in radical form. A is the number underneath the radical. In rational exponent, a is going to be the base, and then we're going to be really looking at the this n. All right. So in this form here, in radical form, we refer to this as um oh, I'm sorry, I'm having a brain fart here. All right. We refer to that as the index. Sorry, guys, I'm messing you guys up. All right, we refer to that as the index. So you'll see the index in radical form is going to be the denominator of the exponent. All right, and then the exponent in radical form is going to be the numerator for the fraction. Okay, the rational exponent. All right. So now a couple of things here. Make sure that you can always find these somewhere, these 4 bullet points, because you're going to be referring back to them quite a bit. All right. So for that first one, if n, all right, so let me erase all this mess. Let me erase all this mess so that we can really look back at this. All right. So if n is odd, all right, so I don't care if it's there or there. I don't care which way it's written. If it's odd, when you're asked to evaluate, like we're going to be doing today, and you grab your calculator, you know there's going to be one real answer. The answer might be positive, the answer might be negative, but it's going to be one real answer. All right? Then, for the second one, if it's even, all right, you're going to notice that all three of these n is even. What's going to make the difference is right here, all right? These are going to be the difference. If a, so now after I notice that n is either odd or even, okay, so very first thing I'm looking at is n, is it odd or even? Then if it's even, now I have these three things that I have to worry about. Okay? I have these three things. Well, if a, I don't care which form it's written in, if a is positive, all right, if it's greater than 0 or if it's positive, I know there's going to be two real answers. So whatever your calculator gives you when you plug it in, you're just going to make sure you put that plus and minus in front of it, all right? Just make sure you put that plus and minus in front. Now, if a is 0, this is the easy one. There's one real answer. It's kind of stupid because the answer is going to be 0, all right? So if a is 0, your answer is going to be 0. So don't make a big deal about that one. Now, if a is less than 0, if a is negative, there's no real answer, okay? You'll see that if you try to plug it into your calculator, you're going to get a domain error or something to that effect. All right, you'll get some type of error, but you'll have to know that there's no real answer. All right, so let's start looking at these problems. All right, and you'll see that I'm going to keep referring back to these. So let me erase all this mess so we can refer back to it. All right, evaluate. So go ahead and get your calculator out. Okay, get your calculator out. I'll walk you through. Unfortunately, I can't figure out how to bring one up on these videos. Okay, not that smart yet or ever, but you have your calculator in front of you, and I'll walk you through what buttons you have to push, just like we would have in class. I'll walk you through. All right, so evaluate the expression. So here we have 64 to the 4/3 power. All right, 64 to the 4/3 power. Now I do want to teach you how to rewrite these back and forth. So right now it's written in rational exponent form. Now, how would you write this in radical notation form? All right, the radical form. Well, remember we said this was going to be the number underneath. So I have 64. And then the denominator. The denominator was going to be the index. All right. So I have a 3 sitting out there. And then this whole thing is being raised to the 4th power. All right. So that's how you rewrite it. Because there are some questions where they're just going to ask you rewrite it. There's no big deal. All right. Now let's evaluate. And now I try to show you guys both ways on how to write it in both notations because some calculators are pickier than others. So you have to get to know your calculator and make sure you ask. All right. So if you have, you can take a picture of it and I can kind of walk you through. I'm familiar with most of these calculators by now. All right. So now when we're looking at this, all right, we know that n, remember, n is which one? Which one? N is the index or the denominator. The index or the denominator. So n is odd, right? So I know it's going to be that one right there. N is odd, all right? Looked up at the 4 bullet points. It's going to be that one. N is odd. So I know there's going to be one real answer. Okay? Grab your calculator and you're going to type it in 64 raised. All right? So remember, use the caret symbol for the ABC button and then 3. And it should give you 256. All right, so I know it's going to be a positive answer. I mean, excuse me, there's going to be one real answer. Now, if you want to try plugging it in radical notation, you're always going to have to use the index first. So you're going to type in the 3. And then you're going to hit the second button and you're going to hit the caret. Okay, oh, not an A. Oh my God. All right, you're going to hit the caret because you'll notice above the caret, there's actually a square root with an x. And what the calculator is doing is it's going to read the index as 3. Okay? And then you're going to type in 64 and you should probably have this in parentheses to the 4th power and it should give you 256. So I don't care which way you do it. Just make sure that you know how to get the answer. Okay? So that's why I'm trying to show you guys how to do it both ways. Go back and forth. All right, so B. Again, it's written in rational exponent form. All right. Now let's rewrite it in radical notation. So I have negative 16 as my base. Index of 4. This whole thing raised to the 5th power. All right. Now, what do we know? N is even. N is even. There's N. N is an even number. All right. So we go back up here. N is even. So I know it's going to be one of those 3. Well, which one is it? Well, now I have to look at A. Remember, this is A. This is A. What is it? A is negative, so it's less than 0. So what do I know? There's going to be no real answers, no real solution. If you don't believe me, give it a try. Grab your calculator. All right? Grab your calculator. Again, negative 16 raised. And then you could do 5, the ABC button to the 4th power. What do you get? I'm sure you're probably going to get some domain error. All right. Or try doing it the other way. Try doing it in radical notation form. Okay. So you'll end up with um, some domain error of some sort. All right. So let me go back and erase this so we can keep looking back at these. All right. So let's look at C. Again, let's rewrite it. All right. So I'm rewriting this thing. But what are you noticing here? All right. What are you noticing? Oh my goodness, I don't know what the hell that is. Sorry guys. All right. What are you noticing here? You're noticing a negative exponent. All right. I almost missed that. So think about what we talked about with when we were doing all that rational exponent stuff. When you have a negative, it's going to be 1 over. Well, in this case, 1 over. And the reason why it's 1 over like this, written as a fraction, is because of that negative. The 3 still goes there. The 50 still goes there to the second power. All right? So hopefully everybody's okay with that. Now we look at this. N is odd. All right? Remember, there's N. N is odd. A is positive. Remember, here's A. There's A. So what are we looking at? We're looking at this one right there. So I know there's going to be two real answers. All right. So I know I have to remember to put plus and minus. Okay. So N is odd. Oh. Oh my goodness. I knew something wasn't right there. Sorry, guys. I said N is odd, and then I still went over the even one. I apologize. All right. So N is odd. Well, since N is odd, there's going to be one real answer. So you grab your calculator, type in 50. All right. Remember, like this. And now, because we have the negative exponent, you'll type in the negative sign, the one that's below the 3 in parentheses, not the subtraction, because your calculator is not going to like that. All right, so the negative, and then to ABC 3, and you're going to get an approximately 0.07. Okay, now let's look at D. This time I gave it to you in excuse me, in radical notation. All right, I gave it to you in radical notation. Now convert it. All right, excuse me, guys. So convert it. So we're going to have 16 raised to the, remember, this is going to be my numerator to the 3. And then there's my index. That's going to be the denominator to the 16 to the 3/4 power. All right. So in this case, N is even. All right. N is even. So we look up here. Let me erase this one where I screwed up earlier. All right. N is even. So I know it's going to be one of those 3. So N is even. What do I know about A? Well, 16. So this is going to be A is positive. All right. N is even. A is positive. Here's where the one that has 2 real answers. All right. So we know there's going to be 2 real answers. So this is the one I know I have to put the plus and minus in front of. All right. So I don't care which way you plug it in. All right. I don't care which way you plug it in. So if we want to practice this one, you're gonna hit the 4 first. Sorry. Then you're gonna hit that button. Remember, it's second, the exponent key, and then open parentheses 16 caret 3, and this is gonna equal plus or minus 8. Your calculator is only gonna give you 8, but you have to remember there are 2 real answers. You have to use plus and minus. All right. So that's why I wanted to go through those little bullet points for you. All right, so E. Let's rewrite this one. We have a negative 32 base raised to the 3/5. Okay? N is odd. N is odd. Well, what do we remember about n being odd? There's going to be one answer. All right, so we're just going to have one answer. So we have 5 like this. Here's where make sure you're using parentheses. Raised to the 3rd power. This one's going to give you -8. All right? It's going to give you a -8. And now this last one. Rewrite this one. 6 to the 7/4 power. All right? N is even. All right? A is, I should be highlighting here. A is positive. All right? It's not tough. You just got to make sure you remember which one N and A, which one is which. Okay? It's not too bad. All right, so now when you do this, so you have 4x open parentheses 6 rate. Oh, why do I keep writing A? Because I'm a complete moron. All right, raised to the 7th power, and this one's going to be approximately equal to 23.002. I'm waiting for somebody to yell at me. So some of you guys are yelling, screaming at me, right? Is anybody yelling and screaming at me? Huh? N is even. A is positive. I never went back. I never went up here to check. N is even. A is positive. I was waiting for somebody to yell at me. So I have to know that my answer is going to be plus and minus, because the way I had it, it would have been wrong. All right. You see how easy it is to get these wrong. So pay attention to these. All right. So if you have questions, please make sure you're asking.